This is Kim and her boyfriend Steve. Kim gets an alert on her phone from her doorbell camera, where she was absolutely horrified to see who the guest was at the front door of her home. It was actually a SWAT team with their tank, who then busted down her door and sent a drone inside her house and then ransacked her house looking for some guy who lived there at least 5 years ago, which is when she bought the house.
SWAT team's breaking down the neighbor's door. That's a first.
And you know what happens next. Did they apologize? Did they pay for all of the damage that they caused to her house? Are they voluntarily going to hold themselves accountable and do the right thing? I got to interview them. Here's what they had to say, and it's an all too common story that occurs across the country. This just happened in Las Vegas, Nevada, and this involves the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, who is apparently engaging in some possibly human trafficking investigation where they were executing search warrants at 3 different locations, one of which was 8923 Melridge Road, Las Vegas. And indeed, the person they were looking for is listed in Clark County real estate records as a prior owner of that address. That's what the cops got correct. But unfortunately, they missed that he's not the current owner, that he hasn't had any interest in that property since 2020, 5 years ago. The current owner is correctly listed as Kimberly Lawson, who had nothing to do with their investigation at all. Were you guys home when this happened? Did you find out about it some other way, or how did it go down?
A few days ago, I was taking my daughter to school around like 7:40 a.m. And then I started getting notification from my surveillance camera saying like someone was in my driveway. And when I tried to like click on it, it wouldn't let me load because I feel like at that point it was starting to kind of like shut down. The last thing I saw was that military tank on my driveway. So I wasn't sure what was going on because I couldn't view any of the footage anymore. I was completely logged out. So he gets a phone call from my security system.
They said someone was at your front door. Do you want us to do anything? And I thought it was a scam because they were asking me for a password and I didn't really even know the password. So I thought it was a scam at the time.
I dropped her off. I had my dog with me because he had an appointment. So then I go straight to my house. He was already there before me. And then I just saw like the whole neighborhood was just completely filled with like police and SWAT teams and detectives. And they didn't really tell me what had happened yet. So the first thing I saw when I walked into my house was like my garage completely ripped out of my house and on my driveway. So 2 detectives went to go talk to me. I went inside their car to kind of verify my ID and everything. And at this point, they weren't really telling me what had happened yet. They asked me a few questions like, are you renting the house? I'm like, no, I'm the owner of the house. How long you lived here? When did you purchase it? And then they're pretty much like confused. And they asked me if I knew this person, and they gave me a last name. And I'm like, no, but it sounds like the person that sold me the house like 5 years ago. And the other detective that was sitting in the back seat showed me a picture and it's like, are you connected to this guy? Have you seen him before? And I'm like, I've never seen him in my life. But the guy that that matched that last name was like the guy that sold me the house 5 years ago. After that, there was kind of quiet. I was finally able to like grab my phone. Then I chatted with him and kind of told him what was happening because they couldn't tell him what was happening.
Yeah, I was in the dark the whole time.
Yeah.
They couldn't tell me that.
So that happened when I arrived I finally talked to him, probably happened like an hour and a half. Then another detective approached me kind of like, okay, this is what's happening. We're looking for someone who is a criminal who's been doing these bad things. They couldn't really tell me what he did. And they were like, yeah, we thought he lived here. So you have no connection. I have no connection with him. I don't know who he is. I purchased this house like 5 years ago from him. I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything. And so he kind of gave me kind of like a little tour of my house, like the garage is ripped out. The front door is ripped out. There's some minor damages upstairs, but most of them is downstairs in the foundation of the garage. And then he kind of just gave me like, okay, well, you can call this number and they'll cover, everything for you. So I didn't really make a fuss about it since they are going to take care of everything that he said. So he just said, yeah, just call this number, the risk management, call this girl, and she'll work with you about all these like damages and repairs. And I'm like, okay, so you guys will take care of it. They're just kind of like, yeah, they'll like work with you. It wasn't like a solid yes or no. It was just kind of like, yeah, just call them and they'll figure it out. And then he kept asking like, how does the process work? And he's just like, oh, like just they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, I was like, you don't really know what the process is? I was surprised that he didn't seem like he knew what the process was. And I was like, all right. I was like, aren't you curious? I don't know.
So they busted down the front door of the house. They ripped out the garage door of the house. They wreaked havoc elsewhere in the house. They even managed to damage the foundation of the home. They caused in excess of $20,000 worth of damage. When they realized it was the wrong house, they basically say, oops, and they give Kim the contact information of the risk management part of the Las Vegas Police Department. And the cops basically represent to her that, well, they'll take care of the damage to your house. But when she actually got in touch with the lady from the risk management section, they basically said, nope, we're not paying for anything. Maybe just contact your insurance company. And so Kim asked for something in writing to this effect. So here is the actual email that they sent Kim, directing her to a code section, which they said stands for the fact that they don't have to pay for damage that they cause when they execute search warrants. Tell me about the condition of your house once you got back in. Like, did they ransack it? What did they damage?
The garage door, they completely ripped it out. I don't know how that process worked, but it does look like they used their, I guess it's called the tank. We did get footage from my neighbor across from me, and it looked like they kind of just pushed it with like a stick or something, that thing that was poking out of the tank. But yeah, they just completely ripped out both doors. And the foundation of my house is pretty messed up. The inside everything was open. The drawers were open. Every single cabinet was open. Even like little bins was like knocked down. Like little things that there's nothing in there.
Potted plants.
Like filters from my oven, they took out. Like every single little pocket of my house was kind of like exposed. TVs was kind of like pulled out from the walls. Couches kind of like, and all the beds were pulled from the walls. And also the cameras were all shot at, so the exterior of the wall is also damaged from their bullets. So all my cameras and motion detectors are completely out. But they
shot your cameras?
Yes. So they shot my cameras. Yeah.
Do you know what they shot them with?
I did find these big, like, what is it called? These big bullets.
Like a rubber bullet.
Yeah.
She has one. They let her keep one as a souvenir.
So it was a big bullet. I was like, what is this? So the other detective was like, oh, this is what we use to like shoot at your cameras. And he was kind of like demonstrating, like, you see how the size fits? And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty big. Like they make big holes on the exterior walls. So yeah, they shot at all my cameras, the front camera, the backyard. So we played phone tag that day. And then that following day, I got off work and I sat in the parking lot talking to her. And my name is this is my case number. This incident happened yesterday. I got raided and there's some damages and repairs I need to talk to you about. They told me to give you a call and you're going to handle all of these things. And she just said, no, we don't cover any of that. We don't do repairs. And I'm like, well, why would they give me your phone number if you didn't have anything to do with this? And she was just like, I don't know. We don't handle any of that. And I'm like, well, who's supposed to take care of it? And she said, you can call your homeowner's insurance. I'm like, well, that's not guaranteed either that they're going to cover it. And she was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But I'm like, well, I need an email from you saying that you can't cover it because I need to take this and present it to my homeowner's insurance or like an attorney or something. So she sends me a letter or an email saying, Kimberly, this is what we talked about, and kind of just gave me a link to the NRS 179. I guess that's a whole link of reasons why they're not going to cover any of the damages and repairs. So we hang up. I get in contact with the homeowner's insurance. They're pretty shook about the whole thing, and they're kind of like, they're not covering anything. And I'm like, no, they're not doing anything for me. So they're like, okay, well, the only thing we can do is file a claim and wait for the adjuster to kind of view it. And to this day, I haven't heard anything back from them.
To be clear, from the very beginning, they have refused to pay for any of the damage to Kim's home. They just damaged her home, left her with the damage, didn't even apologize, nor did they offer any explanation for why they got the wrong house. Can you think of any reason why they wouldn't have been able to just, via the property records, know that you had bought the house 5 years ago?
I can't, because even I did it like when they left, I'm like, let me just look at public records, maybe just to double check. And my name was on there. You type in the address, my name is on there. You can type in my address, my name and my address is on there. And I told him my brother was my agent at the time when I bought the house. And he was kind of confirming everything, saying like, you're on the deed, you're on the title, you're on public records, like his name is on there. They could have just flat out just looked for his name and a different address would have popped up.
Yeah, I looked at the property records immediately after, and her name was on it. So it's like, I have no idea what they're looking at.
As is often the case with these wrong house SWAT raids, they get the search warrant affidavits, which would have the information that was provided to the judge about why this house needs to be searched, why there's probable cause to search this house. They get those sealed so that we can't see what information was alleged to the judge. So while she has a copy of the actual search warrant, it does not contain whatever misrepresentations, lies, omissions, or false information was provided to the judge who signed this particular search warrant. But the point is that there's no doubt that they screwed up. I've never been to Las Vegas, never been to Clark County, Nevada, but in less than 3 minutes, I was able to access their tax assessor's real estate listings where I found a search function. You can search by name or you can search by just property address. Here, if we take the property address that these cops put in this search warrant and we search Clark County records, it comes right up that Kim is the record current owner of this address and that she has owned this property since 2020. Additionally, we can see that one of the individuals they list in their search warrant was indeed a prior owner of this property, but he's listed as a prior owner with a cutoff date of 2020. He was the owner before Kim. So in less than 3 minutes, with just a basic internet search, any claim that the target of their investigation has any relevance to Kim's address at all is completely debunked. Did they mention any specifics about why your address was included?
No, I even asked the detectives, like, did he like fill out an application, credit card, and just put my address on there? Because I've been here for 5 years and I've never gotten any mail in his name for a long time. I mean, when I first moved into the house, like that first 2 months, maybe I was getting mail with his name on it still. But after all these like 4.5 years, I haven't gotten any mail. So I was trying to figure out, like, did he, fill out something online and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's him and he lives here. But they were just kind of like, they looked like they were like kind of confused also. They couldn't figure out really what to tell me after that. After I confirmed, like, I'm not a tenant here. I own this house. It's been 5 years. That guy you're looking for sold me the house 5 years ago. I don't know what to tell you.
Do you have any idea yet, like money-wise, how much damage there is to the house, or like an estimate to repair it?
So far, the quote that I've gotten for like my surveillance is almost $3,000. And then the downstairs was around like $21,000.
Did they ever apologize?
It's kind of like, sorry this happened. It could have been worse.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. Like,
You could have been home.
I could have been home. So the detective, I did have 2 detectives that stayed with me till that contractor guy left. But he can see, like, I was just like sitting there just thinking about like, what the heck am I gonna do, right? And he just kept saying, you know, you could have been home. Let's look at that. I'm like, yeah, I could have died, probably. I don't know. And they're like, we sent a drone in and some dogs. I'm like, you said I have a dog. My dog could have been like attacked by your dog. I don't know. I'm just thinking about the whole scenario. Like, yeah, it could have been a lot worse, but it's not like.
Was your dog inside the house?
No, he was with me. Thank God.
So basically, the way this works is if you look at the code section that the risk management person emailed to Kim, it basically says that police officers are authorized to cause damage to your house, to rip the door off, whatever, if they're executing a search warrant and nobody opens the door. But what all of this hinges on is if this was a valid search warrant. Here, this was the wrong house. But even though it was the wrong house, the address listed on the search warrant was indeed Kim's house. So in the event of a wrong house raid like this, where the government agency is not going to do the right thing, which they almost never do, and which this one is not doing, and you try to force the issue in court, what you always have to do is invalidate that search warrant. Where the search warrant lists the actual correct address, but it's in actuality the wrong address, what we then have to do is go into the search warrant affidavit and see where the mistake was made. Ultimately, there's likely going to be false representations or material omissions to the judge who signed off on the search warrant, where if accurate and complete information were provided to the judge, no reasonable judge would have signed off on that search warrant, and none of this would have ever happened. But that is difficult to do where, like I said, they seal these things. So we see that there was an obvious mistake or obvious incompetence, whatever. It's very, very difficult to do something about it. But they are still public servants. And that's why the public needs to know about these situations so that they can complain to their politicians, so that they can exercise their First Amendment rights. And if the politicians and the public servants don't do the right thing, they can be replaced. They don't hold themselves accountable, but at the end of the day, the public gets to do that if the public is paying attention. So you can help by sharing this footage, especially if you know somebody or you have family or friends in Las Vegas. Like, comment, share. The footage will go more viral, and ultimately the city will be backed into a corner, and hopefully then they'll do the right thing. You can follow along by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.